So today I want to talk about energy and the fluctuating nature of it. The way that we cannot remain in one energy all the time, regardless of how much we want to. And this is incredibly true for me. The desire to remain in this powerful energy where I feel like I am the dictator of my life and I'm in complete control and in complete power of every step that I'm taking. Every action that I take is totally in alignment with where I'm going and who I want to become and who I want to be in this present moment. But the thing is that that energy is not sustainable all the time. There are times when I need to be gentle with myself, allow myself to recharge and rebuild. And those times don't feel like they're the most productive, but they're actually just as essential in order for me to then move back into the energy of being able to start creating again and start doing the things which are in line with my goals. And it's really easy to fall into the trap. And this is so true in my experience anyway, in terms of when there is this exhausted state that comes upon me after pushing myself for so long, pushing myself to my edge, outside of my comfort zones, outside of the boundaries that I have. Once I've been doing that for so long, my body and my mind are exhausted. And I need to give rest to myself. And when I do that, to begin with, certainly there's this sense of, oh, I need this. I need to be gentle with myself. I'll allow myself to have more rest, to go easier when I go to the gym, to not lift quite as much weight, to indulge perhaps somewhat in watching entertainment of different things, YouTube films, things like this. And the thing is that there is a tipping point where that falls out of being gentle with myself and overindulging in things and behaviors which really don't serve me. And this is the thing which I find so tricky to navigate, because how do I know when it has tipped from one to the other? And I guess ultimately I do know. It's about having the awareness of mind and body. And there's the old voices, the inner critic that comes up, which points out that I'm not doing the things which I want to do, and then anxiety comes in because I'm not being who I want to be. And contrary to what I was saying in the last video, in that moment I won't have the evidence that I am who I say I am. And so there's this shyness and this fear that creeps in, and this desire to kind of hide myself away a little bit. And there's an element of hibernation in the first place anyway, but this kind of gets exacerbated, I suppose. And this feeling of wanting to isolate more, and then, yeah, a growing anxiety to actually engage or even walk out into the world, just to go to the corner shop. I know in the years when I was going through extreme anxiety and depression, I would literally lock myself away. I wouldn't talk to anyone. I barely talked to my mother in that time. And I remember just going to the corner shop. I'd have so much anxiety just walking a minute and a half to this shop from my house. And this fear of being seen by other people and of being judged by other people for being such a worthless being, which is what I really believe myself to be. And this can all be so hard. Depression is just the worst. I was writing about this recently, and the Stephen Fry quote that depression tells you this lie that life has always been this bad and always will be. And that was so true for me. This sense that, that there's this giving up of hope. At least for me there was this literal hopelessness. And for me it was around finding a romantic partner. And when I truly gave up hope that that was a possibility in my life, that was when I just tipped off the ledge. And yeah, the belief that life had always just been versions of that, just versions of rubbish lowness. And I really did believe that. And I genuinely believed that it wasn't going to get any better. And I feel like it was the moment that I truly accepted that that's what it was, that my life wasn't going to get any better. It seemed like when I came in true contact with that being the truth of my life, of my experience, it seemed like that was the moment that things immediately started to get better. And then all of the things which I needed came into my life with such rapidity. Just instantaneously, I had the things that I needed that nourished me and led me to helping myself. Yeah. And drawing back to this idea of the shifting of energy, there's this metaphor which I came up with today, which I really love, which is this idea of it being like on a surfboard. And I have no real justification to talk about surfing because I've never tried it myself, but my understanding is that you have a surfboard and then there's a tether, so usually tied around your ankle, which attaches you to the surfboard. And the metaphor or analogy is that you ride the wave, and when you fall off the surfboard is always within relative reach. But you don't try and get back onto the surfboard when the wave is crashing over you. You don't try and get back onto the surfboard when you're under the water. But when the wave has passed, and when there's clarity for a moment, when there's stillness or relative stillness, then you can get back on. And this relates to the energy which I'm talking about, in terms of when you're not in the most powerful version of yourself and you're under that wave, then that's the time where you're gentle with yourself, where you do the things that you need to do in order to survive. And then when it becomes calm again, when you've regained the strength to stand back up on that board, then you can get back up. And it's easy. It's really difficult to get back on a surfboard, again, I'm imagining, when water is rushing over you. I imagine it's a lot easier to get back on when there's calm waters. Yeah, and I guess that's what I want to leave you with today, is this idea of how can you be gentle with yourself during times of difficulty? How can you allow it so you're not criticizing yourself during a period where you need rest, where you need to recharge? How can you be loving and gentle with yourself? How can you allow? So I'm curious what it is that you do in order to serve yourself in these times of need. What loving acts do you do for yourself? that's it for the video today. Sending so much love in your direction. I hope you're well. Goodbye.